up there, truckerooners? Alright, so I have successfully delivered my load. I've just exited the beautiful city of Columbus, Georgia, and I'm headed northbound. I'm gonna get myself up to Charlotte, North Carolina, switch trailers, and then go to Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania, which will not happen today. To load a load of chocolate from Mars to go to Newmarket, Ontario. I know exactly where it's going. The Mars loads aren't too bad because it's they do everything there. I hook a hose up, but they run their pump, so it can be really slow. But I can nap, which is, you know, I'm fat and I'm lazy. I like having naps. This guy needs to decide on the speed because I've tried to pass him several times already. Okay, he's getting off of here, so that's just fantastic. Maybe if he got off a little fucking faster. Jesus, there you go. Holy Christ. So, I got to enjoy some beautiful 20 degree slash, let's see, you can do a little temperature, 69 degree Fahrenheit weather. It was about probably 80 yesterday, give or take, Fahrenheit, but 20, just a hair under 30 degrees Celsius. It was like 28 and a half or something like that. And for, you know, the end of March, near the beginning of April, that's pretty good, for you know, by Canadian standards. You know, I'm sitting there dying of heat stroke, and everyone else is on in a fucking sweater because, you know, summertime is no joke down here. It's swamp ass city for sure. So I got to my delivery yesterday. I was scheduled to deliver yesterday. No time given, which I think I talked about before. Just a date. So I'm like, okay, perfect. So I showed up at about noon. I go to the scale, get my scale ticket and all that stuff. These guys, a lot of these places want to weigh it in and out, so they have as accurate of a, you know, they can as accurately determine how much product you actually pumped off, right? In a way, I think it's right now at this point, this receiver has like new equipment, so they've got a computer that measures the current capacity of their tanks, so it can accurately measure when I fill up, right, how much product I'm giving them. So the scale is kind of it's now redundant, but they want to keep doing it. Most places that you typically go to have a scale on site. A lot of the shippers load you on a scale, right? Because it's easier to do that. It's much better to do that than it is to load you, go away and discover that you're too heavy, and, you know, then you got to figure out some way to pump it off. You know, which would typically mean using your pump, which means that the company's paying for a second tank wash. And, you know, one tank wash is certainly cheaper than installing a scale, but when you start doing, you know, 15, 20 tank washes a week, that's the cost of a scale installation right there, because it's almost $1,000 to wash out one of these trailers. This place doesn't have a scale on site, so what they do is they have a deal with a nearby truck stop. Though I'm not sure, I'm loath to call it that. It's more of a shitty drop yard for locals. Fucking, there's everything there, like just trucks, cars, fucking pieces of things, half a fucking airplane, like it's all kinds of shit. It's a scrap yard, basically, that people park trucks in and has fuel islands. Great staff inside, they're super nice, got, you know, all the amenities and stuff, but I wouldn't want to park there overnight. Like, there is no defined parking areas. Like, people are just, it's kind of just an unwritten rule that you leave a perimeter around the property for people to get around, and that's it. Otherwise, it's a fucking free-for-all as to where you park. I like that trunk on that Mustang. It's kind of neat. I gotta get me some rear window louvers too, like that. I'm getting off topic, sorry. So I go there and I scale in, get to the shipper or receiver. I back into, they used to have, like, last time I was there, we unloaded under this awning. And I guess they've changed everything over to a new section of the building, which is just next door. Like, it's I gotta move like 100 feet, right? No big deal. So the lady comes in and says, actually, we're unloading you over there now. I was like, oh, that's cool. It's like, but we can't unload you today. So that's not cool. So, yeah, we're, you know, I mean, I can get my supervisor if you want. And so I I wanted her to get the supervisor because I wanted to know the reason why they couldn't offload, because she didn't know, but I wanted to make sure that I wasn't like demanding to see the supervisor in a way that sounds really shitty, but you need turn signals on your trailer. Hey, log truck's dead up there. You got no lights on your trailer. Probably already knows it. Nobody's ever fucking seen me. Nobody's gonna move over for him because nobody can see that he's got any fucking lights on. Where was I? So I place. Yeah, I better talk to the supervisor just so that my dispatch knows what the reason is and all that. Yeah, no problem. So we get in there. So the guy says, yeah, we were supposed to run chocolate all week, right? Which would use the product they have in the tank and therefore make room for my delivery. He said, we haven't. We've been running other products all week. So we're supposed to run chocolate tonight for the night shift, which will give you room tomorrow morning. But we're not. We don't have any room for you. Said, okay, that's fine. They signed the sheet. I get paid $40 an hour for the time I got there. The time I left, which was noon yesterday, and I wrote down that I left about 9:30 this morning. So not quite 24 hours, but close to it. Where was I here? So I called dispatch, and my dispatch was upset. Like, that's unacceptable. They can't do that. We need you to go. Just tell them what you want me to tell them. He's like, I'm gonna fold them. I'm gonna rattle some chains. I'll get back to you. And they never got back to me, which means that the answer was what I was given. Right? We don't have any room. Like, we can't physically make room for you when there's physically nowhere to put stuff. And it doesn't bother me because A, it's warm down here, right? So I'm loving the weather, right? B, it's what was I gonna say? B, it's I get paid for it, right? So no big deal. I spend the night there. They tell me, yeah, you can park right here. That way you're first in line tomorrow. No problems, no worries. Here's the bathroom if you gotta go. Here's the places that delivers. Order some food. And played video games all night. It was great. Like I said, I think a lot of truck drivers, my dad included, would give me a lot of grief for being okay with waiting. But I really enjoy those downtimes. Like I'm weird that way. Maybe it's because as a Canadian truck driver, I don't often, and I make it sound like everyone's excited for it. I realize most people aren't. I don't often get the chance to spend a long period of time in the truck. When I did the lease purchase, I've already mentioned the company. At this point, it doesn't really matter because they're not that bad of a company. It was Scott Lynn Commodities. At least they did lease purchases with 389s. When I worked for Scott Lynn, I would always go, I would basically dedicated West Coast. I'd run to California, have a couple of drops somewhere around there, on the West Coast, whether it's Washington, Oregon, California, and reload out of one of the big produce farms in California. Well, they make us do a reset because it was just like, a lot of drivers aren't quite smart enough to understand what running on recaps entails. So they just established, okay, not everybody's going to comprehend recaps. You do a reset, then we load you. That's the way we book it. That way you've always got hours. I loved it, right? I get to the West Coast. I find out where I'm delivering and where, try to get an idea of which way I'm headed, right? And then decide where I wanted to sit for the weekend in California. Go and sit and just relax, right? Which was great because it was easy to keep my truck clean. It was easy to do, because you've got the time, right? You've got 34 hours in the States because I'm Canadian. I got to take 36 to abide by our laws. I've got 36 hours, a day and a half to do whatever I want, right? So I play some video games, clean the truck, get all that kind of fun stuff out of the way, right? And then, wash the truck, do whatever. It's great. I can personal conveyance wherever the fuck I want. So there's a Blue Beacon just up the road. I'll go up there and get the truck cleaned up. Or when I was in California, go to Little Sisters truck washes. They're usually really good. So I was always looking large, and I was always, clean on the inside. My truck was fucking spotless inside. I was super proud of myself for that thing. This truck is nowhere near as clean inside because I don't have anywhere near as much downtime with the truck. I used to when I since I got this truck. I stopped doing West Coast stuff. I don't work for Scott Lilly anymore, obviously, and I haven't worked for them for over a year. You know, where I work now, let's see, this is the guy that went around me here without any lights. So he's probably got no lights still. I'm going to assume he's got no lights. I'm waiting for. See, now he's fucked. Everybody's gonna start going around on the right. That's one of the things I've noticed about driving down here is when people are in cars, everybody is very like me first, right? I've had cars drive around me on the shoulders. I've had cars fucking pull stunts like that, right? Like everybody just if there's a space, they take it, whether they don't think about it. You know, I had it. I turned onto a road and I got my blinker on. I merged into the right, and the car turned out from behind me, like followed me out of the truck stop. I was already moving into the right lane. They went in the right lane and just fucking floored it. And I'm already into the right lane. They're on the fucking shoulder now. And I'm like, holy fuck. I'm not moving. I gotta I have to go make a left, cross 3 lanes of traffic, and immediately get on a right turn, like a ramp going right. You know, it's one thing I was hoping that I wouldn't have to go to that scale anymore because it's kind of a shithole. And no, they're on the fucking shoulder. They took the one intersection before the ramp I take. They went off on that one. It's like, you fucking idiot. Like, wait up behind me for a bit. But there was a slight room for his car to fit. So it was that, well, now he's, you know, I'm already 3/4 of the way in the lane, but now his car's fit into the lane, so I should be out of his way. And it's like, no, I'm in front of you. I'm fucking already in the lane. Eat shit. You know, and I figured it was going to be some young, like, idiot dude, but it was some little old lady, like, just no fucks given whatsoever. You know, so I see that a lot down here, right? People merge onto ramps, they pick their own speed they want to merge onto the highway at. And, you know, it's your fault if they can't get onto the highway because they're driving the same speed as you right next to you, and you don't move over, you know, because there's traffic in the left lane that also wants to do the same speed as you. Like, you know, there's a lot of that, like, I'm the most important person in the world down here. Like, everybody believes they're the most important person, so nobody really works together, I guess. I don't know. That's politics. I probably shouldn't, you know, dive into fucking dissecting America again, because I do that a lot. But where was I? I delivered. Yeah, so they had the hold up. They said, yeah, we'll get to you first thing in the morning. Perfect. You know, played video games, relaxed. I could have cleaned the truck a little bit yesterday. To be fair, I had some of that time. You know, I spent a lot of it waiting for food. I ordered Domino's. And anybody at the very least in North America, and I'm not sure how well Domino's does it over in, like, the UK, because I'm pretty sure they've got Domino's over there. I don't know why you'd fucking, anywhere in Europe, why you'd order Domino's pizza instead of, like, you know, better pizza. But, you know, Domino's is typically, you know, when I order off Domino's online, as an example, it typically tells me a wait time is between 35 and 45 minutes, and it's at my truck within 15, right? It's always super fast. My delivery from the time I ordered to the time my pizza arrived to me was about 2.5 hours. My pizza was cold. The order was right, which is a relief, but my pizza was fucking cold by the time it got to me. I said the delivery driver said, my pizza's cold. He looks at me, he's like, we don't have any, we're short on delivery drivers. I said, but I paid $30 for cold pizza. And he just gives me a blank look. It's like, I don't know what you want me to do, sir. Like, well, you know, it'll take me 2 hours to get another pizza out here. I was like, just get in your car and leave, man. I paid with a credit card, so your company already has my money, so I can't really fucking do anything about it. Aside from her order from Domino's again. I mean, again, I shouldn't say it was cold. Like, it wasn't like it'd been in the fridge, but it certainly wasn't nice hot pizza anymore, right? So I was more than a little frustrated, but what do you do? What was I going to say? So the receiver knocked to my door this morning, and, like, again, it's more a tanker thing than anything else, but everywhere I go, receivers are so friendly. So the lady knocks on the door and says, hey, whenever you're ready, we'll let you know when you're good to pump, but whenever you're ready, this nozzle here, perfect, thanks. So I, get up, get dressed, move my truck around a little bit just to kind of move the chocolate around, because it sometimes settles a little bit. It does exactly what it did, which is hardened even though it's warm. Move it around a bit, get everything hooked up, start the pump, open my valves, and nothing comes out. So I let the lady know and say, hey, this is going to be a minute. We got a bit of a problem on my end. Oh yeah, no problem. It's no big deal. Just you take your time. So we got a maintenance guy who's very familiar with this particular type of situation, right? Because lots of guys show up and the chocolate gets cold or whatever. So he comes out and says, yeah, we got we got a hot water, like a fucking 150, 170 degree hot water hose. We'll get that thing warmed up. So what it is my trailer is insulated. The trailer runs off of coolant. The coolant from the truck, the motor heats the coolant, it gets piped through the trailer as well as the truck, which keeps the load warm, and actually aids in cooling the truck because it's a longer cycle, therefore the coolant has more time to cool off, and it's it's giving its heat to another source. That's again, the trailer is designed to pull heat off the coolant, so my truck runs a little bit cooler than other people's trucks, and it keeps the cargo warm. However, the pumps at the back, the box that the pump sits in, they're supposed to be insulated and they're supposed to kind of get heat from that coolant system, but oftentimes they don't, or at least don't very well. So there were a couple of nights on my way down here where the temperature got below freezing. And again, the load in the trailer, my load was at 110 degrees Fahrenheit, and it stayed at 110 degrees Fahrenheit the entire time I came down here, on or off, right? It doesn't matter. But a bit at the end where it was colder, it got hard. And then sits there, hard and liquefied, or solid. So we put the hot water hose on it for 5-10 minutes, and me and the maintenance guy just shot the shit. Open the valves, and out comes the chocolate. So we're like, perfect, we're good to go. We set it up on the computer, and I just bumped her off. They go back to that same scale out my empty weight, and bring it back, get my actual paperwork, and here I am. So again, I've heard other guys, I'm part of a tanker group on Facebook, and I've heard other guys complain about places they go to. Oftentimes, I've not seen food grade guys. There doesn't seem to be that many food grade tankers, that I have seen, at least in these Facebook groups as an example. A lot of oil tankers, like food oil, or like milk and stuff, but not when I haul. Obviously there's plenty of those guys out there, but I don't see them as much. I've met guys out there in real life, but not, say on, Tanker Mafia or whatever Facebook groups. But some people, is that guy pull over another fucking cop or what? One guy's got his lights on. He's got the other car, fucking sheriff on the shoulder. I think they're just talking. Where was I? Some guys have complained, right? Like shippers and receivers are shitty. There's nowhere that I've been to where the staff is shitty. So I've had one place where the receiver's boss tried to strong arm me a little bit, or establish some sort of dominance over me, by coming out and asking me about a scale ticket. And, you better be going to that scale. I said, I'm not going to that scale. Well, you have to go to that scale, we're not going to pay. I said, then you're not going to get your chocolate. Well, you can't do that. Watch me. Here, I'll shut the pump off right now and take it away. Right? So I'm not going to again, I talked about this in another video. The scale was in a little shithole fucking truck stop. And I do, at some point, the amount of times I've gone to this particular receiver, at some point I'm going to damage my equipment, or somebody's going to run into me in this truck stop, because it's just inevitable. So I passed this guy earlier, and I've had my cruise set at 68 miles an hour, and now I'm passing him. We're both empty, and I think last time he passed me on a hill, so he just clearly doesn't know how fast he wants to go. That's good. So that guy I straightened out pretty quick, because the nice thing about A, being an owner-operator, and B, doing this line of work is I don't answer to those guys, right? I will explain things to a receiver. If a guy, if the receiver says, hey, like we need you to go to this scale or do that scale, usually the only reason it ever comes up for anybody is because they have a deal with that particular scale where they'll pay for it and the scale won't charge the driver. That particular scale, I will happily pay for my own scale ticket. Again, I shouldn't have to, and I could probably put it forward to Royal and get it reimbursed. But they might also say, well, why don't you go to the scale that they ask you to? Because that's the one they pay for. It's like, no, right? I don't know how to accurately describe that truck stop, but I was just, A, I didn't get scaled because there was a guy stuck on the scale, and B, I had to wait 45 minutes in line at the fuel islands, because once you get in there, you cannot get out, not without going through the fuel islands. Like I said, there were trucks parked 3 rows deep in the back row, and you cannot get out. Like, there's no exit, there's no way out. Like, you're blocked in by the trucks in front of you. So it's just a terrible truck stop. Like, worst idea ever. It's like, I'm not going there again. So that guy tried that, and there's one place where we have one shipper that he's just really nervous dude. Like, he stutters a lot, and he's like, having to stutter is one thing. The guy's like super nervous all the time. He's like a little abused dog that's like constantly shaking. Like, he's just nervous. Sometimes he's like super friendly, other times he's like kind of a dick, and you're like, I had it where he said they weren't going to load my trailer. It's like, I don't know, man, you signed a deal with Nestle, like, you got to load this trailer this way. Oh, no, we're not going to load that. The trailer's not, you don't have a watch tickets. I'm getting told to load it. Nestle says to load it. Like, I'm going to be billing you guys for my hours sitting here waiting. He's like, well, we're not going to pay for it. I said, you are going to pay for it. Like, you're not. Your company's going to pay for it. You wouldn't sign anything, because you don't have to sign this, right? It's just my company will fight with your company for it, and it's going to be, it has no effect on either of us. I'm going to get paid for my hours waiting here, regardless. But other than that, like, it was, we talked about it a little bit after. He's like, he said, like, it's not me, it's my supervisor's being a dick. I said, no, I get that, right? I said, you're just here to load trailers. I'm not, when I tell you these things, I'm not saying that you're paying for it. B, I'm not saying that, you personally are going to be held accountable for anything. It's, it's you guys as a company, right? Your supervisors, tell your supervisor that this, what I've told you, because it's him that's going to be the one that has to deal with that, not you. So it was, his supervisor didn't want to fucking deal with it. And then I had one place where the guy's supervisor didn't want to pay me. I showed up, same thing, they didn't have enough room. They weren't going to have room until afternoon, and I got there at like 7 o'clock in the morning or something like that. So it's fine, I got a demerit sheet. I guess their supervisor, first he tried telling the guy that I was dealing with, well, no, we're not paying him to sit here. So he came out and said, like, he's saying that they're not going to pay you to sit here. I said, then, either A, we offload me, or B, I leave. And you guys, I'm still going to get paid to wait. But you guys are going to get your chocolate when I feel like coming back, rather than when you want it. Right? So he said, yeah, no, that makes sense. Goes in, tells the supervisor. The supervisor came out, and basically he went and analyzed, like, looked at all the pumps and found a tank that was meant for something else, but was clean. So they're like, all right, offload them in there, I guess, because the supervisor realized that I'm going to get my money out of them, right? Because my company's going to get their money out of them, because my company will pay me. I'm getting paid regardless. My company will go after that company for the money, and because they're contractually obligated, right? That's the one thing with tanker I find is with like reefer or dry van, the onus is on the company to be there at the dedicated time, and that's it. So if you show up on time at a reefer type place or like a cold storage, if once you're there, they can do whatever they want, right? They're not held accountable for wasting your time. right? With the food grade tanker, anyways, and I can't speak for all tanker, but at least with my company, it is explicitly in every contract we arrange with any of these shippers or receivers that once the driver arrives on site, regardless whether I'm early, late, on time, if it is more than 2.5 hours from his arrival to the time he leaves, we're billing you. It's in the contract, right? So they agree to that contract. So again, the guy on the floor that you're dealing with doesn't want to sign the sheet because he's afraid that his company's going to come after him. That's fine. My company will still get it out of that company. It just means that my company is going to, be more forceful. And, if it was really, and I don't think it ever does, if it was really get dragged out, my company would threaten to fucking stop hauling for them. One of the chocolate places we go out of, which also is conveniently the one with this nervous guy, we are there. I think we're almost. I think we're their only carrier that hauls into the U.S. They've got some French guys that run stuff back to Quebec. I think they're the only guy they want to haul into the U.S. So it's almost a reversal of like the freight type of situations where we kind of get to dictate how things are going to go, because we've got they want us specifically, which means that they've got to keep us happy. So again, I got paid because it was 2 days. There was kind of fucking around with 2 different loads. I got paid 48 hours at $40 an hour. For 2 separate 24-hour periods to wait there because things had gone wrong. And that shipper ends up paying for it. There's a lot of money in this freight, so that's part of it. But it's also, it's the way it is. That's the way trucking should be for everybody. Doesn't any of these cold storage places need to start being held accountable for their drivers' time? They're the drivers that work with them, their time, because again, you can be fined for being early, you can be fined for being late, but if you show up on time, you're probably liable to wait 6 to upwards of 24 hours. You guys have waited 36 hours before to fucking unload freight before. That's 36 hours of that guy not at home and not generating any profit, because most of these carriers don't get paid and therefore don't pay their driver for it, right? I mean, Scott Lynn did that, right? I never got paid for my waiting time, where on here I do. So it's the way at least Royal does it, I think, is the way the industry should do it, right? The company knows, Royal's good at knowing their driver's worth and knowing what a fair wage is for the work compared to what they make versus what we make compared to how much we actually work. I make a good mileage rate. I make a steady mileage rate, and it's every single mile. So I can always count on, there's no, well, okay, we need you to deadhead 400 miles, and that's deadhead, you're deadheading for free or some shit. I'm paid all those miles. So, the initiative to take long trips is always there, because you don't really have to be smart about where you go. The more miles, the better, right? They have backhauls, and even if they don't, well, you're going to get paid to go to one, right? Like I said, I delivered in Henderson, Nevada, which is Vegas. I deadheaded all the way back to Quincy, Illinois. That's fucking, what is it, probably about 1,800 to 2,000 miles of deadheading. Paid for it. So this guy passed me, and now I'm catching up to him. I strongly dislike it down here, people's driving habits. There's so many people that are they don't want to be stuck behind somebody, but they didn't necessarily want to go faster than you, right? So he's in a, the quote unquote, without getting cliche, he's in the danger zone, right? Now he's slowly moving away, but you get a lot of that down here. People do whatever speed they want. Nobody really pays attention to how the rest of traffic is working, so nobody really makes an effort to work together with the rest of traffic. Everybody just kind of wants to do what they want to do and fuck everybody else. So yeah, like I said, it ends up being that it's you know, minimal amount of work for pretty good pay. And what I got going on with this trip, like I said, I got a load in Elizabethtown. Now the Mars plant is kind of small, but they're easy to work with there. I got to drop my trailer, which is a little extra work, but the same thing, they load everything. Go in, scale out. The only part that sucks about the Mars load is I can get from there to the receiver in one day, like in one 11-hour cycle shift, or 13 hours by Canadian laws, I guess. So what that typically ends up meaning is I go load at like 6 o'clock in the morning, I drive till 6 o'clock at night, and then I'm there till like 2 a.m. delivering, and there's no room on the property. Now that's on me because I choose to do it in one day. You know, I had one load that was like a rescue thing. They desperately needed the freight or the chocolate because the plant was, you know, they were out of product, so production had stopped, and like the guy that was doing it like fucked up or something and couldn't do it. So I did it in one day, but typically that's not how it works. Tomorrow it won't work because I'm not going to get to. Typically I get to the tank wash and then spend the night there, and that tank wash is 6 miles, I think, 6 or 7.5 miles from the shipper. So it's, you know, typically I'll just cheat a little bit, go on personal conveyance, and then when I'm done being loaded or just about done being loaded, I'll go on duty and start my day, because on the E-log it doesn't fucking know a difference. It's all Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania. You know, so that just saves me my day. But tomorrow, because I'm not going to get anywhere, like I'm not going to get to that place tonight. Tomorrow I'm going to have to drive for a couple of hours to get to my pickup, which means that I'm not going to have enough hours to get to my delivery. So I'll get up into upstate New York and shut her down for the night, get up in the morning, go across the border, you know, go to where I got to deliver, and then, I don't know, I would assume from there I'll probably go home. They're back to having me go out for a trip and go home for a day or two rather than, you know, just keep cramming in the work. So that's fine, right? I'll live with that. But yeah, I think that'll be the end of this video because I'm almost at that, you know, cutoff time. So you know, that was today. Fucking fun times. All right, kids, you know, don't do anything stupid. And, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have an outro. Fucking, just don't be dumb. There, that's it. Don't be dumb, kids.